Hey guys, I'm Kevin,
I'm Jake.
and this is Movie Matters. We are talking about the 1985 comedy Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Wow, fuck that one up. Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Yeah, Tim Burton directed it. It is his directorial debut for a motion picture. I think it does a great job. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, I
Uh-oh.
have mixed feelings about it.
Uh-oh.
I haven't watched it in maybe 15 years, something like that. I remember not like particularly like liking it when I saw it the first time. Not like I don't like dislike it. It's just kind of like weird to me.
It's a bizarre movie for
Yeah.
sure. Well, Pee-wee's a bizarre character in general.
Yeah. And like, I don't have a problem with weird movies. 'Cause like, I loved Blue Velvet, which is probably one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's something like just a little off-putting about Pee-wee that I just can't get past. So
Yeah, it's like a child adult.
yeah,
and
it's
that's
just a
kind of
little. It's like one step over the line, so it's not like unwatchable. It's just like I'm uncomfortable the entire time I watch it, and it's just like okay, like
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, there are a lot of funny parts. It's got that like patented Tim Burton flair.
Definitely.
So yeah, I mean, I appreciate it for being, like Tim Burton's first movie, and like it is fun. It's just not something that I'm gonna like seek out and probably ever watch again. But
Wow. Okay. I get it. I get it. I grew up on this movie. I loved this movie. I thought Pee-wee's hilarious. I watched Pee-wee's Playhouse as a kid here and there, not too often, but I did watch it. I've always liked this character, and Paul Rubens does an excellent job portraying this character. I mean, that's his claim to fame. This is his character, his legacy, especially since he passed away somewhat recently. R.I.P. to a legend. But I love this movie. I mean, there's so many like iconic and quotable moments in it. It's very comedic. And again, I was watching it. I was curious if all his laughter is in the script. Did you think about that when you were watching it at all?
no, but like
Okay.
I kind of feel like a decent amount might be somewhat improv'd. Like
I think so.
I feel like
It's his
some of the
character.
lines are kind of there, and like I think a lot of the interactions are like, here's the line, but then all the filler around it of like his character is like all
Yeah.
I think on the spot,
Yeah, because all he does is laugh in this movie.
Yeah.
And he's got that iconic, like, the Pee Wee Herman laugh, which is very iconic. So, and the screenplay is super simple. The idea of it's super simple, with him getting his bike stolen and trying to find it. It's a very simple plot. It's actually a nod to the 1948 film Bicycle Thieves, which I don't know if you've ever seen that. I watched it in a film class in college way back in the day, and I thought it was good. I mean, for me, I'm going to sound like not a cinemaphile, but like old movies like that, I just kind of bored to death on them. And that's kind of a controversial take, but maybe I need to rewatch it in my older age and not in a college classroom where I was bored to fucking death. So we briefly talked about this before, after our last episode when we stopped recording. I found out that Phil Hartman wrote part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you that Phil Hartman was murdered by his wife, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I love Phil Hartman. He was hilarious. He's great. I love him in Jingle All the Way, which I watched during the holiday season recently.
So good.
Yeah, he's hilarious, and He, did a lot of voices on The Simpsons and did Saturday Night Live. And I mean, he always did, "Hi, I'm Troy McClure," from Simpsons, which was just so great. And like such a quotable character. Sad that he was murdered by his wife, which is terrible. If you don't know about that, look it up. Jake and I looked it up even further after me telling him that happened. Pretty crazy, but he wrote the script with Paul Rubens and Michael Vorhall. They had never written a screenplay prior to making this movie, and they purchased the book by Sid Field on how to write screenplays and did exactly what the book said. So Jake and I, we got to get that book.
Yeah.
Because we want to write screenplays. Nerd alert. But what's funny is they did exactly what the book said, and screenwriting classes use this screenplay because it perfectly uses that formula. The film is 90 minutes long, which is 90 pages usually. So usually for screenplays, it's every page is a minute of screen time is usually kind of the rule of thumb. So 90 pages, it's 90 minutes. So that's perfect. The first act ends at page 30, which is the 30-minute mark. The second act ends at page 60, which is the 60-minute mark. So it's like perfectly formulaic. And I think the screenplay's good. I think they did a great job with it.
Yeah. I mean, you can definitely feel Hartman's touch. There's like certain jokes where I was like, that has to be a Phil Hartman like line that like he wrote.
Can you recall any? I know I'm putting you on the spot, but that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
But they were mostly not stuff that Pee Wee said. It was like other like kind of lines of dialogue and stuff. But yeah, like I feel like that, like a real like stand-up comedian's kind of touch was like in there, So yeah, I think, and being from SNL also, he probably knew how to give Rubens that like framework, to work with like a little bit of improv and build on that script and add all those little, the quirky Pee-wee things, and isms that, he's iconic for. But
yeah, I mean, it's Phil Hartman's a national treasure. I mean, so is Paul Rubens. It's pretty crazy that both are no longer on this earth. The score, so another first. This is Danny Elfman's first motion picture score. And he knocks it out of the park. I mean, literally, after our last episode, Bill and Ted, I was literally like humming this theme song to Jake, and it got stuck in my head, and it's been in my head all week. So
yeah, like it's really funny because it's like very like childlike and like upbeat and like kind of like almost like circusy, but then there's also these like super like menacing elements to it that are,
I know,
like, really weird.
Yeah, but there's some terrifying moments in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's like even like the like theme song is like like dun 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 dun, then like dun dun dun.
Yeah,
like,
it's so good.
Like super like you don't expect it for like what would be like otherwise
children's
kind of
movie.
A children's movie. Yeah. So
yeah, agreed. I mean, even like, not trying to jump ahead, but like the bike chase at the end is like very almost the Wizard of Oz, like Wicked Witch of the West, or like when she's on her broom is like da-da-da-da-da-da. But yeah, very iconic. So Tim Burton, Paul Rubens were fan of Danny Elfman's Oingo Boingo band. And he was the lead singer and songwriter of that band. And initially, Danny Elfman was like really not wanting to do the score. He just was like, I don't have formal musical training. I don't want to do this. So he declined. But his manager told him to tell Burton that he was like going to decline himself, like just out of respect, which is super nice. And eventually, obviously, he caved and and changed his mind and decided to accept the job. He was assisted by the Oingo Boingo guitarist Steve Bartek as an orchestrator. Elfman expected Warner Brothers to say no, and reject his whole score, and they didn't. They accepted it, and he later said that hearing his music performed by an orchestra for the first time was one of the most thrilling experiences of his life, and I can imagine that. It's iconic, and he's iconic, and he's obviously worked on almost every single Tim Burton movie that Tim Burton's made.
Yeah, so. I mean his whole sound is just so recognizable. And we talked about the Beetlejuice and Batman, scores, which are both iconic in their own rights. Off the top of my head, I'm sure I'm missing the Simpsons theme song. Is also everybody knows that.
Yeah.
So
yeah. He also did Spider-Man, the 2002,
that's right.
2002 Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Is it 2002? I'm pretty sure it is. I gotta look that up because it's gonna bother me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's 02.
Yeah, 02.
With Tobey Maguire.
Yes, sir. Tobes.
But yeah, I think it is really cool that he was basically a rock musician. I guess he's progressive rock or whatever. But I think that kind of paved the way for people like Trent Reznor, to be able to do movie scoring, transitioning out of rock music and stuff, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of really talented and musically apt, people in bands that you wouldn't necessarily think would be capable of doing that, but I think a lot of times they really have that kind of knack,
Agreed. I mean, another one that comes to mind is Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead.
Yeah,
he's done a handful of soundtracks. He did There Will Be Blood and a bunch of other ones. He's awesome.
Yeah.
So the movie opens with a Tour de France dream where it's obviously not in France, which is funny, and not in Paris. And it kind of makes fun of that with the whole fake Eiffel Tower thing. And then his whole waking up sequence is so excellent. And him lifting 2.5 pound weights, 5 pound weights, and struggling is hilarious. His pajamas are hilarious. His slippers, his bunny slippers, sniffing the carrot is iconic. And then you get him, you get him sliding down the fireman's pole, and him transitioning into his iconic attire, his tuxedo, his gray tuxedo with the red tie and the white shoes. And then he starts his breakfast, which always makes me hungry and want bacon, pancakes, and toast, and maybe Mr. T cereal, maybe.
Yeah.
That whole sequence is so cool. I remember as a child being this is awesome. This is so cool. And then him brushing his teeth and being Mad Dog and foaming at the mouth with the toothpaste is hilarious.
Well, the one thing about the breakfast that's really ridiculous is that he eats 2 pieces of the Mr. T cereal and then wipes his mouth he's done and walks away from this enormous breakfast that was prepared by his whatever homemade assembly line, breakfast assembly line or whatever.
Yeah, continental breakfast at an assembly line.
Yeah. He doesn't eat any of it.
No, and what's funny is he goes on a weight scale and it's 90. He's 98 pounds, which is hilarious. So, kind of makes sense. But he's always kind of been that frail, skinny. That's his slender character. That's part of his shtick. And you get him taping his face off and doing funny faces, and his house is just so cool Like he's got the fish tank window in his bathroom, which is really cool. And then like you walk outside and he's got all these crazy like lawn ornaments. Mm-hmm. And I just was thinking when that happened, like, imagine being his neighbor.
Yeah.
Like, I would fucking hate that.
Well, the one neighbor seems to like him.
Yeah. Yeah, he like turns on, he's like, I'm going to water my lawn now. And the water goes everywhere because it's like, yeah. I can only imagine being his neighbor, that especially like, you know, as a kid, you're like, oh, that's so cool. But like now as an adult, you know, as a homeowner, you're just like,
so annoying.
Fucking nightmare. Fucking nightmare. But it's cool. Like he's got that secret panel that like his roof antenna is going and like calculating the position. And then it opens up the hedges and you get his iconic bike. His bike is super cool. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it's that like 50s hot rod kind of look. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, definitely iconic. And I love how just the classic line of "Good morning, I'm here." So great, so great. My parent, I feel like my dad and my mom used to like joke with me on that. Like they'd come in like to like wake me for breakfast, and they would say that, and I'd just be like, Pee Wee. Yeah, you get Francis, the like neighbor enemy, not even neighbor, but like his enemy who's goofy and weird in his own right, and kind of creepy.
They're kind of mirrors of each other.
Yeah,
but
they're
like,
both adult children.
Yeah,
it's very interesting, and like watching it this time. I mean, I haven't seen it in a while, and we will get to that story that I want to tell, because that's probably the last time I've watched it. Uh-huh. I'll probably tell it right after this, actually. But like watching this, just I was like surprised by how. I mean, that's kind of again, that's Pee Wee's shtick, is like his childlike, you know, awness and his character. But like watching him and Francis interact, you're just like, wow, these guys are children, literally. Like, you know, I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I? Infinity, like literally children. Okay, so the last time I watched this, we'll get to this iconic story, or what I think is iconic, and our listeners and viewers may think it's dumb as fuck. And I've not told this to Jake. I don't think I have. Okay. So I was in Los Angeles. This was probably when I was in college, so this was like 12 years ago or so, maybe even longer than that. I was out in L.A. at my aunt and uncle's house, and this was when weed was medically legal in California, but really nowhere else. So I smoked a bunch of weed, and I had this massive brisket dinner that my aunt made. And then, being super high, I went to my room that I was staying in at her house, at my aunt and uncle's house, and watched Pee-wee's Big Adventure. And I tripped balls. Like, I just remember watching it being like, what the fuck am I watching? I do not remember this being so trippy. And I had to I was like laying and sinking into the couch, and I had to keep like sitting myself up because I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like, this medical marijuana is killing me right now. And all of a sudden I'm like, I feel sick. Like, I don't feel well at all. I'm like, I need to go like get this out of me and go throw up. And so I'm in the guest bedroom that's in like one corner of the house, and the guest bathroom is in like the other end of the house. So I'm like, oh shit, like I'm going to throw up. So I start running to the bathroom. I make it to the laundry room and projectile vomit, like Exorcist style vomit, all over the washer and dryer in my aunt and uncle's house. And this is it's pitch black. It's nighttime. It's like probably like 12. It's probably like midnight roughly. And I just projectile vomit chunks of brisket all over the washer and dryer. And I'm just standing there, high out of my mind. Like, what the fuck do I do? I don't know what to do at this point. And I'm just like, so I go and wake my aunt. I'm like, hey, Marlene, you're going to fucking kill me. But I threw up everywhere. And again, so it's pitch black. I've not turned on the lights or anything. So we go into the laundry room, we turn on the lights, and it looks like a Jackson fucking Pollock painting in there. Like, I painted the walls. Like, every orifice of this fucking room was covered in brisket and vomit. It was disgusting. And I felt horrible about it. And yeah, I mean, I don't think my aunt and I have spoken about that since. But that is a very fond memory I have, watching this movie in my early 20s, being high as shit and puking my brains out. So hopefully that story lives up to the expectation, what people were thinking. But that story will live in infamy in my mind, and I will never forget that happening because I just thought it was hilarious. Like, that's something literally out of a movie.
At least it didn't ruin the movie for you.
Yeah, the movie still holds up. Just, yeah. And I don't throw up every time I watch it. So,
Yeah.
Just that one time. Yeah, so this movie will be iconic and hold a special place in my heart, not only from my childhood, but from that specific moment in my 20s hold. Sorry, dog's barking. Yeah, I just remember, I mean, this whole movie is trippy as fuck. Like, being a kid's movie, it is wildly imaginative, and it has a lot of scary moments, especially from a kid's perspective. Like, there's a lot of creepy things.
Large Marge.
Large Marge being one of them, which is, I'd argue that's one of... There's two moments in this movie that are the most iconic to me, and that is one of them, Large Marge. Tell them Large Marge sent you. And the evil laugh and, the classic horror story of he comes in, hey, Large Marge sent me in the bar, the restaurant that he's at, the diner, and they're like, oh, she's been dead for 10 years.
Yeah. And tonight's the anniversary.
Yeah. It was a night just like tonight. It was the worst accident I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I love that. That's so great. Again, that's something I would say Phil Hartman wrote. Like,
probably,
that bit, I could see Phil Hartman writing that. Going back a little bit, like Francis's house with the pool, where it's like, oh, Francis is having his bath, and it's this massive room where it's like a bathtub pool.
Yeah.
And like the fight between them is hilarious, and then he gives them trick gum that he got at the magic store, which the magic store scene is hilarious, and he has the ear on. He's like, what? And there's some lady like, who the fuck is this guy? Like all that shop is so cool. Like all the heads in there are really cool. There's just some cool like prop work. And I think that, again, is very Tim Burton-like. It's just all the little things in the background, and all the props in general are really cool. Mm-hmm. Like going forward to Large Marge, like the face she makes when like her eyes explode.
Yeah.
Like that's very Beetlejuice-like in his other movies.
The sequence with the clowns, the like dream sequence is very Tim Burton-y. Yeah. I love that sequence is awesome, and the soundtrack really stands out to me in that moment. Yeah.
And they're like, that's a scary moment. Like, I've definitely had nightmares from this
creepy,
movie. Yeah.
Part. Yeah.
If I had made it and not thrown up, that'd probably have been the moment I would have thrown up.
Yeah.
If I had not already. The stop motion of the dinosaurs, which dinosaurs are a pretty prevalent theme in this movie. I think the stop motion of them is really cool. The sound effects are really cool in this movie. I mean, again, that's very Tim Burton. Sound effects and stop motion and, cool visual effects. Practical effects, all very Tim Burton-esque. And what's cool is this is the start of his career in that, with motion pictures at least.
Mm-hmm.
I like... I like when he's all depressed because his bike's gotten stolen, and he goes down the alleyway and it's like raining, and like all these like muggers come at him. He's like, you're in our turf. You're on our turf. And he just hisses at them and they all run away. Yeah. That scene's iconic. Like, this is so great. I love how, like, Dottie is, like, super into him. Mm-hmm. And he is just, like, not about it, but, like, kind of playing hard to get in a sense, but also not.
Yeah.
I'm a loner, a rebel, Dottie.
Yeah.
So great. Another iconic line. Probably another Phil Hartman line, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the whole... when it gets meta at the end with the movie about him, I think that's probably like a Phil Hartman brainchild kind of thing.
Yeah, the movie within a movie, and it's Warner Brothers, like the whole studio lot, and him trying to find the bike, and I feel like that's also them just being like, how should we do it? And it's like, oh, let's just do a movie within a movie.
It's like, very Blazing Saddles too.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is like one of those movies that like becomes just like meta chaos.
Yeah, agreed. It's super, especially at the end. It's very chaotic. I like all the people he runs into, like that makes it. It's called Big Adventure for a reason. He meets all these characters, and I like the Terry, the like convict with the with his handcuffs, and it's like, what did you do? He's like, oh, I pulled the do not remove under the penalty of law tags on the mattress. Like, that's great. And like, I love when they, they're like the law.
Yeah.
The law.
Commiserating about the law.
Yeah, and it's like Pee-wee. You're like, sure, Pee-wee, you've dealt with the law. But then they actually deal with them as like at a roadblock, and Pee-wee's like, I got a good idea. Like, Terry pulls out a gun, which is, again, like this movie's PG. It's like kind of crazy. And he dresses up as a woman, which is hilarious. And then the shot of him, just that whole sequence is hilarious, where the cop's like, let me take a good look at you.
Yeah,
like,
that
cute outfit
on
you got
him. Like, yeah, it's kind of weird.
It's so funny. And then they escape, and Terry pulls off his like beard and stuff. It's like, whoo, like that was a close one. And Pee-wee's just dancing.
Leaves all the like wig on and stuff. Yeah,
so funny. I like that he gets dropped off by him or kind of left in the dark, and he uses the headlight goggles, and like all the animals are around him. Like,
and they're
that's
all like
hilarious.
clearly fake too, which is funny.
Yeah, so funny. Then you get the Large Marge sequence, which is again one of the most iconic moments, leading up to, I think, the most iconic moment is when he goes to the biker bar. That whole sequence is my favorite part of the entire movie, where he's going in a biker bar, like this cult biker bar, and he's trying to use the phone.
I'm trying to use the phone.
Yeah. So iconic. And they just like are about to kill him, and he's like, can I get a last request? Then puts on Tequila, the song, and gets these big shoes and dances and points at his penis and his ass. And like, that whole sequence is so good. And he's just like break dance, throwing the beer bottles and like pitchers on the ground. And yeah, that whole sequence is my favorite because it's just so ridiculous. Him knocking over the bikes, getting in trouble, and then the ending sequence, I laugh my ass off at it, where they put him on a motorcycle. He doesn't know how to ride it and runs straight into a sign.
Yeah, his body goes flying.
That's my favorite part of the movie. It's just so funny. It's just so random too. Yeah. It's just like, all right, guys, send him off. Like, that's just pure comedy. Like, that's so perfect. Like, especially that his dancing, of all things, just saves him from this brutal biker gang.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make any sense, but it's hilarious.
Yeah, and they're like, what are they called? Satan's helpers.
Yeah. So good. Then you get another nightmare sequence, and that's the one with the clowns you were talking about, and you've got Francis in the devil costume, like boiling his bike, which is ridiculous. And then it leads to him waking up and figuring out his bike is in Hollywood, which is hilarious and random as fuck.
Yeah.
And then you get this. The bike chase sequence is awesome. It's so well done and so cool. You know, like one of the security guards like grabbing the handle and it pops out, and he like laughs at that. Just like little gags like that are hilarious. You got like Godzilla. What were you gonna say?
Oh, his bike is like outfitted with all these like gadgets, like it's a Bond car. He's got like the smoke screen and oil slick.
Yeah,
all this like crazy stuff that like obviously that bike cannot actually like produce any of it, but
yeah,
yeah, it's pretty fun.
He sets that up at the beginning too when he's in the bike shop talking to like the BMXers. He's like, "Oh yeah, James Bond kind of stuff."
Yeah.
And then, you know, the ending is like the movie is like very trying to be James Bond, where it's like Herman, P.W. Herman. Like it's supposed to be like Bond, James Bond. Yeah, and that's James Brolin, Josh Brolin's dad. I don't know if you knew that. Yep. Nice. Speaking of cameos, this is an 80s cameo that is hilarious. So this is the screen debut of Darla the dog, which Darla the dog is the dog from The Burbs, which is also the dog from Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
And that dog is in this movie, which is hilarious. So pretty interesting that we've done all these 80s movies with the same dog.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. I don't know. Just very interesting to find trivia like that. I like the whole, like the Twisted Sister cameo where they're making the music video is really cool. I love Twisted Sister. They're great. The pet shop, like him stopping this giant chase scene to just save pets.
Yeah.
Is hilarious and random. Yeah, I mean, and it's just him getting in trouble and them being like, "Oh, we think your story is going to make a good movie," and like that producer like only handshakes with like a,
a weird like a overhand
clamp. Yeah, very interesting. And then the ending is great because it's going through all his friends that he met along his big adventure, and he's giving them all like candy and food, and he gives Simone French fries, which is funny, and he tries to like get Terry the like knife or whatever in the foot long, which is funny. It's just great. It's I don't know. I love this movie. I will be honest. I don't think it maybe because I watched it super late. It didn't hold up as well as I thought it would compared to my childhood and compared to the throw up viewing. But it still is great. It's iconic. I love this movie, and I will 100%. Unlike you, I will watch this movie again. And I will probably show it to my eventual kids, and they will get nightmares from it because I got nightmares from it. And it's PG, so it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, when my wife, God bless her, watched it with me, and at the end of it, she was like, "This is one of those movies where I'm really wondering who the audience was." And I was like, "Yeah, I think that's fair."
Yeah. Did she like it though?
No, she did not like it.
I think you prefaced that in the last one. You're like, I don't think she's gonna like it.
You know the meme from I Think You Should Leave, where it's like, "What the fuck is this world?" Like I felt like that was my wife, like through the entire movie. She's just like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I mean, it's a strange movie, and I feel like watching it as an adult and having not seen it in your childhood, it could be like, yeah, this is fucking creepy.
Yeah, I think maybe that's like, I think I saw it when I was too old already. And then, it was just like weird and creepy. And then it continues to be weird and creepy for me.
Well, I mean, most people know that Paul Rubens got arrested as well. Do you know this story of what? Yeah. So, in 1991 in Florida, he was caught basically masturbating in a movie theater. I pulled up the article of it, but apparently, like, Hollywood came around and supported him, which is pretty interesting. So basically, it wasn't like watching a showing of the fucking Shining. He was in like a porno theater. So, but pretty interesting that, he's a children's entertainer.
Yeah.
And
It's not a good look.
yeah. So, I'm reading some of the stuff here, but he actually tried to bribe the people that were like the officers that were arresting him. Apparently,
That's not a great look either.
It said Rubens reportedly offered to appear in character as Pee-wee for a children's benefit if the department conveniently decided to drop the exposure of sexual organs charge, which could have resulted in a year of jail time and $1,000 fine, but they didn't charge him with that. Pretty interesting. His mugshot is very interesting. He's got a goatee and very long hair. And he's wearing like sunglasses. And this is in Florida. Shouldn't that be legal?
The Florida Man.
Yeah.
The Florida Man saga.
Yeah, pretty interesting. I'm going to read more about that, but that's kind of a somber way to end the episode.
Yeah, it's like, I wonder how he's going to wrap this one up.
Well, he was fine, people. I mean, he's no longer with us now, but he was fine and still beloved, and I still love him. So we'll leave it at that. So hope you guys enjoyed the story and this episode, and we'll catch you next week.
Yeah, next week is Revenge of the Nerds, I think.
Yeah.
Which I think is first time for both of us.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that one.
Good. Me too. Yeah. So brush up on your comedy films of the 80s and watch Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah.
And watch this movie if you haven't already, because it's creepy. And don't jerk off to it.
Yeah.
I know that sounds fucking weird.
Yeah.
And also, I don't care if you smoke weed or not. I don't anymore, just as a heads up. It's legal in a lot of places, which is fine. I don't do it anymore. But if you want to smoke weed and watch Pee-wee's Big Adventure, just don't throw up. But it will make it entertaining.
Don't eat a large brisket beforehand.
Yeah. Cool. So hopefully it's not a somber ending on that. And we'll catch you next week.
See ya.